63% of Americans say President Biden does not have the mental sharpness it takes to effectively serve as president. This comes as his approval rating hitting a new low of just 36%. These are not good numbers. But Biden, by the way, blaming the media for the falling poll numbers. Watch this.
You're talking about real practical solutions.
Absolutely.
When you reference insulin that you've come up with. Why do you think you don't get more credit for it? Why do you think your polling is where it is?
Well, I don't think people, by the way, every major one who won re-election, their polling numbers were mine are now.
Put polling aside then, right? Sentiment in this country, despite all these wins, is not very good.
I think all they've heard is negative news for 3 years. Everything is negative. And I'm not being critical of the press, but you turn on the television, the only way you're going to get a hit is if there's something negative.
Something negative, like high crime, international turmoil, rampant illegal immigration, financial calamity, withdrawal from Afghanistan. That's not made up. That happened. Joe Concha joins me now. Good morning, Joe. So who is to blame for Mr. Biden's poor numbers?
Mr. Biden, right? I mean, it is profoundly ironic, actually, that this president complains about bad press on MSNBC, which couldn't be any more positive to this administration, as we just saw, if it tried. So to your point, how exactly should Mr. Biden be covered when it comes to wages not keeping up with inflation exactly, that everybody feels at home?
Right.
How should a GDP number of 1.1% growth like it was last quarter, how should that be covered at this point? How should an administration that has added $5 trillion to the national debt in a little over 2 years be commended? How should the crime crisis in major cities be explained away through the press? How should ACT test scores, which is not talked about enough, being at a 30-year low, how should that be covered? And how should the open border, where the U.S. is absorbing now the population sizes of entire countries, how should that be covered? The president should stop blaming the messenger, because the numbers are the numbers, and Joe Biden isn't the victim. The American people are, and that's reflected in those latest poll numbers, which you just showed, which are the lowest of any U.S. president since Jimmy Carter. Ash.
Yeah, very well said, Joe. And I want to get to this. You have a new op-ed out. It's, quote, "Where in the world is Joe Biden?" Joe, the president has been quiet for the last week. We know that. And guess what? Even his schedule this week is mostly empty. Is he heading back to that basement strategy?
Yeah, I don't know if he ever left, quite frankly, Ashley. I look at the president's schedule every day, and it is completely laughable if it wasn't so pathetic. I mean, the president has one public event today where he's going to make some short remarks on protecting consumers where there are flight delays or cancellations, unquote. In a related story, flight delays and cancellations have skyrocketed under this administration, and the complaints to the U.S. Department of Transportation have quadrupled compared to the last 4 years. So he's going to talk about that. Then he has another event this evening, and that's to host a movie screening. And if you look at his schedule over the last 5 days, he's had, Ashley, exactly 2 public events on his schedule, and one was to host a college football team at the White House. Another was a meeting with one of his cabinets. That's it. So the White House press secretary claims that the president, he's in meetings, he's on calls all day, but of course provides no evidence or details to back that up. And look, it explains that Washington Post ABC News poll that you just talked about, where a majority of voters, 2/3, think that he doesn't have the necessary mental or physical fitness for the job. I mean, that is just remarkable. And only 36% of Democrats, Ashley, want him to be the party nominee. 36%, because they see that he's not working hard for the American people, and whatever solutions he's putting forward just don't seem to be working. You just had to wonder if there's a party intervention coming at this point.
Yeah. So what does he do? Does he go to rallies once the campaign kicks into high gear, or does he keep his appearances to a minimum, because we know he really struggles in that setting?
Well, I think we got a preview, Ashley, right? When he announced he was running for re-election, does he do so at a press conference? No. Does he do so at a big campaign rally? No. It's a slickly produced, highly edited video that goes out on social media that makes Joe Biden look very, very invigorated. Kamala Harris couldn't be happier. Everybody's smiling in the video. That's where you're going to see a lot of videos that can be edited and homogenized instead of the person himself, because they figured it worked in 2020. But we saw that poll again shows that Donald Trump is up by 7 points over Joe Biden. If the election was held now, Ron DeSantis has a similar lead as well if he were the nominee. So I don't think they could get away with it again, because there's no COVID to hide behind anymore.
That's very true. I have to leave it right there. Joe Concha, great as always, Joe. Thank you very much.